So welcome everyone for our day 3 of virtual open week. This is the platform where we sort of like create, you can learn more about EIT, the programs that we do, get to engage with our lecturers. But just before we step into today's topic, I just want to quickly highlight some of important notice here in terms of notifications and sounds, so you don't get any form of disturbance when you're trying to listen or watch the session. So if you can just follow the instructions there and just ensure that you disable all the notifications. Okay, so welcome to day 3 of our Advanced Diplomas and Vocational Programs overview. So we'll be sharing some insights for those who want to know about our VET courses. And I'll now hand things over to Paul Celenza, who is our college manager, and then she will be sharing all the information. Paul, you can take it away. Thanks.
Thank you very, very much, Barry. And thank you everyone for coming today. It looks like we've got a really good number in the room, actually, which is fantastic to see. Maybe in the chat box, if you can, just type in whether you have studied an EIT course before. Be interesting to see. We've obviously lots and lots of students over the years to see if we have anyone that's actually studied an EIT course before. Oh, that's the wrong button to push. Fantastic, fantastic. And maybe if you can, just type in something that you found from the course, something of interest that you, only one person. Fantastic. Unfortunately, it just says attendee, so I can't call you by name, but maybe just something that you found interesting from the course. It might be technical, might be administrative, anything at all. So my name is, and while that's going on in there in the chat box, my name is Paul Celenza, as Barry mentioned, and I'm the manager of the Vocational Education and Training courses here at the Engineering Institute of Technology. It's a lot of words there. I've been in the organisation for approximately 14 years, so I've seen a few generations of students, which is really fantastic to watch the journey of these students as they start. And when they start, often they're nervous, right? What have I gotten myself into? And then at the end of the course, when they graduate, it's a wonderful to see what that does for them and the pride that they have when they complete the qualification, which is really fantastic. I see some people are doing what's known as the DIA, Advanced Diploma of Industrial Automation Engineering qualification. Throughout the session, put in the chat box any sort of questions that you have, and then we'll work through them. We've got people in the room that can sort of help with any sort of questions. It's a great platform. Great platform. If you have any questions, one of us will be able to respond to those questions and make sure that you sort of understand. The agenda today, what we're going to do is go through some different types of advanced diploma qualifications. Then we're going to talk about just other sort of courses that we have, what other qualifications more specifically that we have. We'll have a quick chat about Moodle. What is Moodle and how do we use it? Student support, it's one of the things that is really important, we know, to students. That are you being fully supported with the course? And we'll talk about different ways that we do that. The resources, when you enroll into an advanced diploma, what resources do we offer? Webinars, time commitment, and accreditation, virtual labs, and then just some concluding comments, right? So hopefully the plan today really is to help you to get a really strong understanding in a relatively short period of time. There's a lot that goes into these courses, these qualifications, but so you get an understanding of sort of what we do, how do we do it, and I guess you'd say, is it achievable? Hopefully we'll answer some of those questions over the next period of time. So what I've got here is some typical advanced diploma courses. If you can, type in the chat box, maybe obviously what is EIT's most popular advanced diploma program? Anyone have any ideas? Now there's no wrong answer. It doesn't matter. There's no bad answer. Now, while you're typing in the chat box, we have a huge range of engineering advanced diplomas, right? In fact, we have 16 advanced diplomas that we offer, right? All specializing in it's very niche areas. Some are niche, some less niche, as you can see on the screen here. Some of those are less niche, but engineering qualifications. We're very, very highly specialized in that area because we understand that, you know, the world needs engineers, right? Especially at the advanced diploma level. It's really important all around the world that we have quality engineering graduates. Any ideas what the most popular advanced diploma course is? The advanced diploma courses run for between 18 months and 2 years, right? So you've got electrical engineering with the DIA. Actually, the DIA is the most popular. The DIA, we have these little short codes. The DIA represents, as you can see, the very first one on the list, the 52886 WA, Advanced Diploma of Industrial Automation Engineering. Is our most popular advanced diploma course. It's very, very popular. And the second one, number 2, is the electrical engineering, the Advanced Diploma of Applied Electrical Engineering, the engineering electrical systems qualification. Now, looking at an advanced diploma, you've got your typical structure, right? So essentially, on this, hopefully you can see the slides on the screen. This is just an example of one. Obviously, they're all very, very, very different, right? But you've got different modules and units within there that go for specific weeks, and you'll find that within a module, look at it as being a module. So the first one, or the one at number 3, is 2 weeks long. You'll find that you'll have assessments, you'll have quizzes, different assessments that go into that as well, and the live webinars, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Gives you a bit of an understanding, and the different modules will overlap with each other and go through. 18 months, this one is just an example of part of the Advanced Diploma of Industrial Automation Engineering qualification. And you'll see that the modules overlap with each other. So it is quite intense, right? It's an intensive study, right? And so we make sure that the students learn as much as they can. And it gives you a bit of a guideline on sort of some of the things that are covered, as you would expect in industrial automation engineering. If anyone in the room is, knows about industrial automation engineering, you'll find that those sort of modules in there really do sort of tick the box. And you can see it covers quite a large breadth of information. And one of the things in there that we'll talk about a little bit later is that the fundamentals of professional engineering practice, applying the fundamentals of a professional engineering practice, DPFPE 619, which was one of the requirements from Engineers Australia to cover what's known as the stage 1 competencies that they require, so that course can be accredited under the Dublin Accord. And it is accredited under the Dublin Accord, and all of the different signatories around that. So we'll slide a little bit later and we'll talk about that. But it gives you a bit of an understanding of what the structure of an advanced diploma. One of the things you'll see with each of these different modules, you could really study for a year on each one of those modules, but there's 20 modules, for example, in this course. We can't ask for our students to study a 20-year advanced diploma, so we can't cover it in the sheer breadth that you would wish, but you do get a very strong idea holistically of industrial automation engineering, which is one of the reasons why It's our most popular course. 16 different advanced diplomas. So it's likely that people in the room will find an advanced diploma that sort of suits their career aspirations and learning needs. We do have other qualifications. We've got, for example, 6 different graduate certificate programs. The graduate certificate program is 6 months in duration. We have a diploma as well, a diploma of leadership and management. And there's another advanced diploma there, the EIT 60222. Advanced Diploma of ESI, which stands for the Electrical Supply Industry and Power Systems, very similar to the Applied Electrical Engineering. Oh, Electrical Power System Engineering, there's a comment there. That's we have the perfect course that you should consider should you wish to continue your studies. So the next part of it, how do we support you, right? So we understand that people are learning remotely, right? What support is provided, right? Each course, well, each intake of every course. So each course, we've got a number of different intakes that goes throughout the year, depending. We have what we call learning support officers, or if you've studied with us before, they're known as LSOs, right? Now, we have one LSO that will help you throughout the entirety of your course. That one person that you can contact if you have any sort of questions at all, right? They're very, very, very highly trained and skilled people, our LSOs. And we have LSOs based in different locations around the world. We have LSOs based in a number of different countries around the world. And they all work together. Now, the LSO, as you progress through the course, the LSO will know, and you contact the LSO, well, they'll know where your course is up to, where your intake is up to. They'll get to know you pretty well over the 18 months or 2 years. It's quite a not a long period of time. It's a reasonable amount of time for them to get to know you pretty well. We have assessment due dates, and so the LSOs will contact you if you look like you're falling behind and sort of push you along and say, look, you got to meet these due dates. What's happening? How can I help you? If you're having any trouble at all with the course, then the LSO is there to support you, and they do this very, very, very well. Now, the LSOs are not engineers, right? The LSOs are administrators, you could say, right? They manage the compliance, they manage the course and assist the students. But they can help you with really anything else, even if you're, anything at all that any sort of challenges you have. And we know that students from time to time have different challenges, and they'll guide you and provide you with the options available to you so that you can successfully complete the course. The LSOs will guide the students right through from the very, very start. Now, the LSOs understand that, this might be a new way of studying for students. So they know exactly the process to guide students so that there's no confusion. It's really clear at all points, certainly at the start of a course. What do you do? Different systems and things like that, which, if you're thinking about studying, you think of an online course with different systems. That sounds really confusing. The LSOs are very good at this, though, and there's very strong processes in terms of we understand that, and helping the students. It is achievable, and it's not massively difficult either. With the systems we have in place are very, very user friendly, and the LSO's there to guide you right through the onboarding process, and then throughout the course right through to graduation. The LSOs are there to support, encourage. That person you can contact. We all understand that you may have had an issue with an organization in the past. You've called them up, then what they've done is they've transferred you to another person. You've told your story again, and then they can't help you, transferred it to another person, and on and on and on, where you've told your story, your problem many times, and ultimately it's frustrating. You can't get a response. We don't do that here. We've got LSOs, learning support officers, that can help you in real time with sort of any sort of challenges that you have. Things that the LSOs can provide guidance on, right? So the webinar information, the assessment times, extensions, maybe a work project comes up. We understand that our students are working professionals. They've got families, they've got social lives, they've got senior pressure jobs where things come up. And they'll be able to provide you with the options, give you an extension if needed. Maybe you're not feeling, you maybe sick. I remember this was a big thing through COVID. We had some challenges there. They can maybe give you an extension on an assignment if you're unwell for a week or two, that sort of thing. Help you through the course. If you don't quite pass an assignment, they'll give you the opportunity to resubmit the assignment, and they'll contact you about that. So you've got someone that's on your side, basically, and that will help you throughout the course, which is really, really, really good. They'll get to know you really, really well. There's lots of communications between the LSOs and the students. And that picture there is a picture of Sharon Bowler. She's based in Perth in Western Australia. Resources. So there's a couple of different things to note. We have, and we'll talk about Moodle a little bit later, but we provide, we have a huge e-library, basically, that all the Advanced Diploma students have access to. And they have some significant resources in them. Well, it really helps if you want to delve into a module. Maybe you're doing something in your job that maybe you want to learn a bit more about. It's a fantastic resource, right? We have IDC Technologies Manuals, which is a sister company of the Engineering Institute of Technology, as well as a number of novel libraries. IEEE is a big one. Some of these names, many of you in the room maybe have some familiarity with. Open access, which is really, really good. A lot of peer-reviewed journals, resources and things like that. That's in the e-library, right? And all the Advanced Diploma students have access to the full range of resources in the e-library. Also, but students are provided with specific readings inside their course, right? So you have, for example, the first module. What are the best readings for that module, right? What do you need to know? Well, those readings are provided on the Moodle page, and you're directed to those readings. We have the slides for the different webinars, assessments. There's a lot of videos. So depending on the style of learner you are, there's something in our resources which should suit your individual sort of learning needs. A huge range of different materials that are provided, and that's updated regularly and provided to all the students within the program. So there's certainly no lacking of materials. We provide we have a really strong process in terms of materials. One thing that sets us apart, many of you may have studied before, where, for example, you apply for a course and then you pay your money and then they give you a link to a website and then basically you're on your own, right? Good luck. And whether you pass or fail, really, that doesn't matter. You've paid your money, right? We don't do that here at EIT, right? We really take great pride in making sure that our students are fully supported, right? And most importantly, that they learn what they need to learn from the course, right? So the best way we believe to do that is with live webinars. So we use some software called Big Blue Button. That's the big blue button symbol you can see on the screen there. And essentially, we link up students with instructors in real time. So it's not a recording, although we do have recordings that we use, pre-recordings and things like that we use on our learning management system. But the webinars are live. And there's a requirement for students to attend the live webinars, right? So there's a 70% attendance requirement in order to graduate from the course, right? And it gives the students can ask the instructors in real time questions, right? You know, but as we know, engineering is it's conceptually difficult. There's some tricky things to know, right? The webinars are also recorded, and so the students can watch the webinars anytime they wish, right? Because obviously you'll attend the live webinar, which is at a very specific time, and then you know, if you many students do, they'll watch some of the recordings a couple of times just to really get a handle on it, pick up anything they've sort of missed. If a student is unable to attend the live webinars, then what they can do is they can watch the recording of the webinar and send their LSO, which is hopefully getting familiar with the terms, a summary of what they learnt from the webinar, and that goes towards your attendance requirements. Bearing in mind that the students are they're mature working professionals, right? Things come up, and so you might not be able to attend every webinar, but it is important that you at least watch the recording of each webinar so that you don't miss anything. Another thing we pride ourselves on is our instructors. While they have significant qualifications, that's expected. We've got all of our instructors have very, very, very significant qualifications. It's a compliance requirement. Outside of that, though, these instructors have a huge amount of experience, right? They've been where you are, right? And they're true experts in the areas that they're delivering. They really do know the ins and outs of the subject matter that's being presented. So we're not restricted by location because they're online delivery. We're not restricted that we can only get people locally. No, we can choose the very best instructors from anywhere in the world. And we've got a lot of absolutely a huge number of fantastic instructors. And these people, they want you to understand. They're educators. Many of them are not many of them are working in industry still, and they just do this, do some webinars here and there to assist because they like helping students and sharing their knowledge, right? They're not just the academics who've learnt everything from a book. These are people that they've been on the factory floor, so to speak, and they can really guide you and help you in terms of the subject that's being delivered, and also have a strong understanding of the sort of questions that you'll ask and the ability to answer those, ideally in real time, inside the webinar. They're formal qualifications that we're delivering, so it's really, really important, and we need to meet these entry requirements. We know historically that students that do not meet the entry requirements will struggle to successfully complete the course. So we have set in place some entry requirements that they're not overwhelming, but the people that meet these entry requirements, we know they've got a really, really strong chance of success. Because now the last thing we want to do is set people up to fail, right? That's not what we do, right? And each different courses have different entry requirements. Some of the courses that we've created ourselves, we've been able to design the entry requirements based around the structure of the course, but also other courses which we didn't specifically create but have the ability to award the qualification for. There's different entry requirements sort of in the different courses, and we'll go through them a little bit now, right? So applicants must have at least a year 12 or a certificate 3, which is a trade level qualification or equivalent in a related field in the area that you're studying, right? And students must have at least 2 years work experience. Now, that needs to be of a technical nature and needs to be in the area that you're studying, right? So after 2 years, we believe that you've got sufficient knowledge and experience in that area than to tackle a significant qualification at, say, an advanced diploma level. We do understand there's some students that maybe do not have any formal qualifications. Maybe they left school early. Maybe then they, for whatever reason, life comes up, didn't complete a qualification. So there is a way to get in through 4 years work experience in a related field in the area that is being delivered, and then we ask those students to complete what's known as a credit to entry form, which is basically doesn't provide any credit in the course. It's an entry it gives you entry to the course, and it gives the potential student the ability then to demonstrate sort of their experience as it relates to the course that they're wishing to study. And at that point, then we can say, yes, this person has a really strong chance of success, and we'll let that person in. Or alternatively, that person lacks experience and perhaps not the best course. Perhaps has some advice. Come back maybe in a year or two once you've got the experience you need, depending on the nature of it. The course is delivered entirely in English, right? Which is really, really important. So students need to have a really strong command of the English language, and that needs to be demonstrated in the application as well. It's important that students have the ability to the listening, really strong listening ability with English, because it's tricky engineering, as we all know, and you need to have the ability then to understand when the webinars are being delivered, but also the ability to communicate with written English. With you have whatever your need is, communicate effectively to your LSO, so the LSO can sort of help and guide you. It's important that students self-analyze with the English as well. It is entirely in English, and it's at an advanced diploma level, so it's not a baseline qualification. It's a significant qualification. So, and there's some different parameters there. So if you've studied, if you've completed English at pass level in high school, year 12 or equivalent, then that's an accepted thing. If you've studied right through to year 12 and you've in English, then you likely would have a strong enough command of English to successfully complete the course. And there's also different English tests around the world, as we know, such as IELTS or ACAN and a range of other different English courses. Or you can demonstrate your English by doing another course, such as the Professional Certificate of Competency course, or any other course that you've completed in English, because that shows that you have a sufficient command of English to be able to complete the course. So the next question is the course accredited, right? Do you have, at the end of it, do you have a qualification, piece of paper, more accurately? Do you have a piece of paper that means something? So EIT is what's known as a registered training organisation. You've got our RTO provider number there. So the RTO, and only an RTO can award a qualification. So that's an important thing to note. Only an RTO can award a qualification. So anyone can deliver a qualification, but they can't provide you with a formal qualification. And what that also means is that we have permission from the Australian government to award qualifications, formal qualifications that are recognised Australia-wide. We also have different organisations, depending on your location, that recognise our qualifications. If there's anyone in South Africa in the room, SAQA, South African Qualifications Authority, got a little bit tongue-tied there, they recognise our qualifications, and we have a strong relationship with them. We also have a number of qualifications which are accredited under there's different accords, right? So you've got 3 different accords. You've got the Dublin Accord, the Sydney Accord, and the Washington Accord. What we'll focus on today is the Dublin Accord, which is industry bodies around the world. What they do is they have an agreement, which is the accord, right? which means that they'll accredit accredit courses, and as such, they recognise qualifications amongst the signatories. Now we have a number of courses accredited through Engineers Australia, which is the industry body for Australia, and we have a number of, and because they're accredited through Engineers Australia under the Dublin Accord, the signatories, hopefully you can see on the screen, are all signatories to the Dublin Accord. Is there anyone in the room from any of these countries? So if you're from, for example, South Africa, you may likely be familiar with EXA, Engineering Council of South Africa, which is a signatory. Engineering Council of United Kingdom, if you're in the UK, New Zealand, Ireland, obviously Australia has Engineers Australia. So a range of different signatories to the Accords. What that does is it gives mobility to students. We know that students travel or live in different countries. That's great. So EXA, I see the chat in the box there, South Africa in the rep. Yep. So EXA is a signatory, and we've got a number of courses that accredit the programs at the level of engineering associate for the Dublin Accord. Some of those qualifications that we have under the Accord are the Advanced Diploma of Applied Electrical Engineering and the Electrical Systems one. We've got a few different electrical engineering advanced diplomas, but the Advanced Diploma of Applied Electrical Engineering, Electrical Systems, that's fully accredited, and it's been fully accredited since 2013. We have the Advanced Diploma of Civil and Structural Engineering, which is also fully accredited. Advanced Diploma of Industrial Automation Engineering, again accredited since 2013. Now, the accreditation under the Accords is not an easy process. It takes years and years and years to get accredited, and we get audited by Engineers Australia, and the audits are extremely detailed. Right, they go through really everything in finite detail, and it takes years. Initially, we started communicating with Engineers Australia because we have graduates at the time. This is many years ago from memory, around 2011, 12. And so we chatted to Engineers Australia, said, what can we do to make this process as seamless as possible? And they identified that we had the different accords, the Dublin Accord in the situation of an advanced diploma student, and then we went through quite a process that took a number of years to go through and to achieve the accreditation, which we're very proud of. Right, adds a degree of quality to the courses, and I guess demonstrates to people such as yourselves that these are well put together courses. Engineers Australia simply would not accredit a course that didn't have proper support for students, didn't have proper course structure, and didn't have proper resources. They simply would not do it. So that's really pleasing. And now we've got the different sort of industry bodies around the world which recognise those qualifications. Now, these courses, the last thing you want is a course, right, where you're just sitting there reading and answering questions, right? You need to have a really strong understanding, a practical understanding of the courses, right, or of the subject matter being presented, which can't be done entirely through just a textbook, right? So what we have is some remote labs. It's called Iris. So what we did is we created some software. We're the only ones that have this software. It's specifically created for us and took a long, many years, and they're continually improving it as well. Now, the challenges with remote labs or e-labs, a few different problems, a few different challenges, we should say, with engineering software. Engineering software doesn't usually work on Mac computers. People in the room maybe have experienced that. It's just not, they're just often not designed for Mac computers. For the engineering software to work, the students' computers need to be compatible, right? Which can be challenging, right? You don't want to have, you know, with software that you must do, and then your computer's not compatible. Well, you're not going to go out and buy another computer. That's not the way to go. Another problem, challenge with the engineering software is the file size of the software. It can be quite large, with especially over time. We found it can be really prohibitive for students to download the software on their computers. These software packages that we use are really, really large, and over time as well, we're all noticing in our daily lives, file sizes are just getting larger and larger and larger. And there's also a lot of licensing agreements and complexities around it. So what we do to negate all of these problems, right? None of these are a problem with our remote labs. Essentially, what the students do is they will access our computer systems, right, through this remote labs. They access our systems, and then they can perform a task, right? Whatever the practical that they're trying to learn is, right? So you don't need the most high tech computer, right? A reasonably modern computer is fine, right? There's no additional costs for students. They're really quite user friendly too. We've got a lot of different software packages on the labs, and then students will go into the labs and they'll do what they need to do, right? Practice on the labs in a time that best suits them. So we've got multiple labs of multiple softwares in different sort of locations. If there's anyone in the room that is that has a strong understanding of IT related software things, one of the challenges is latency. When you click the button, you don't want to wait. You want it to respond pretty much as immediately as possible. So we're very, very, very focused on that. We have fiber internet specifically to the labs in Perth in Australia. The internet that I'm using at the moment, even though I'm in the office, is separate to the internet of the labs. To help with latency, we also have labs in different countries around the world, right? So we've got labs in Johannesburg, South Africa, United Kingdom, Singapore. Wherever sort of we need labs, we've got labs in different locations. So if you're sitting there in Queensland, Australia, or if you're sitting in Cape Town, Johannesburg, you'll be able to find a lab that best suits you as per your location, just to speed things up. You can use any lab you wish, but it just speeds things up a little bit for you. The labs really do also, they represent industry, right? We put a lot of time and effort into the labs to make sure that the labs represent what's happening in industry too. You might find as well, so with an advanced diploma student, you've got access to all of the labs, right? Irrespective of the course that you're doing. You might find as well that maybe you're doing some work at your job. Maybe there's some software you're just not very good at. Maybe an example could be perhaps AutoCAD. Maybe you're not good at or you could be perhaps better at making drawings. Well, you could jump into our remote labs and you could spend as much time as you wish just practicing on that. When no one's around, there's no one in your office that can see, and just improving your understanding of the software to improve your ability in the workplace. The labs are also, everything we do is in real time, which is really, really good. And as I mentioned, accurate representative of current industry. As we know in industry as well, especially over time, certainly over the last, say, 15 years, 10 to 15 years, A lot of the work in engineering is done online, which has really benefited us because we're able to then have software that represents that to help educate students. The interface to equipment is digital and data driven, which is great. High availability and asynchronous anytime. Our labs they're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It doesn't matter where your location is. It does not matter what your time zone is. There are labs that are there for you, irrespective of where you live. Access to specialized equipment in a safe and near limitless testing environment, which is really fantastic. It's a unique opportunity too, one that you don't often see everywhere. Diverse cohort of students, bandwidth requirements, right? So we understand the needs of the students, and we make every effort to make sure that it's as seamless and as positive and productive as possible. Now, also support, which is a big one. You know, as I mentioned earlier, how does EIT support their students, right? How do we support our students? We have a designated team that takes care of any remote lab queries. Students who are having some challenges with the remote labs, they're able to lodge a ticket. Needs to be a ticket, we found. It's better for the students. It's not the tickets there. With the remote labs, you're dealing with students' computers. The IT, the tech people, our remote lab support team need to have specific information that specific information that'll help the students. And nothing's worse if you have an issue with the remote labs. Then the support team needs to go backwards and forwards. It's frustrating, right? So we do a ticketing system, where the student puts the challenge they're having, and then there's sufficient information on that, so then that the remote lab support team can then respond to the students, helping the students, and then the students are able to then progress with the assessment or the remote lab that they're using. They also monitor, because it's support is it's a ticketing system. Because of that, we can then our remote lab support team can then monitor response times, check for quality of responses, making sure that they'll go through them and make sure that they have did we respond to this? Was there a need for a follow-up query from a student? A range of different sort of key performance indicators to make sure that we're constantly improving and supporting the students with that, which is really, really fantastic. The other thing to note about the advanced diploma students is something that I feel is unique for EIT. In our courses, you'll have students from many, many different locations. I see there's people from maybe South Africa, Zimbabwe, all over the world. We really do have students from the far reaches of the world, and they're communicating with people in real time, and they get to know these people over the 18 months or 2 years. So it's really, really, it's a unique opportunity. You get to network. What are you doing in your organization that's maybe best practice? Alternatively, maybe you have a challenge. Maybe there's a problem that you're really struggling to fix. People inside your course that are doing the same kind of course, often they'll have a solution for you that maybe you never considered. Maybe that solution won't be from someone local. It could be someone from a far off land. And I find that the students really do enjoy getting to know each other. There's forums on Moodle, the learning management system, which is really, really, really pleasing. Like get to know, and the LSOs will get to know you. Other students will get to know you. The instructors as well. So which is really, really fantastic. This brings me back. There was a slide that I sort of glanced over, didn't really talk about, but it is a really, really important one, and I wanted to just sort of chat to you about this before you sort of leave the session today. you can all understand, right? If you're doing a course, and then what I do is I email you all your readings, all of your slides, all of your assessments. Your emails would get very, very, very cluttered. It's a poor way to sort of manage the course, right? So what we do is we put everything up onto a website. Now it's a learning management system, or an LMS. Let me have some water. Highly customized specifically for our advanced diploma students. And it has everything. Essentially, Moodle, and this learning management system is what we call Moodle. Moodle has everything that you need for your course, your specific intake of your course. It's where you'll find all of your readings and your assessments, videos, pre-recordings, all of the sort of materials that we put in there. You'll also submit assessments through Moodle. The assessors will mark them and provide feedback on Moodle. You'll be able to then track your progression. How am I doing? When you attend a webinar, that we mark the attendance on Moodle as well. So you'll be able to see in all aspects of the course how you're going, whether there's something missing, what's coming up. How long do I have before the next assessment due date? When is my next live webinar with an instructor? All of this is on Moodle. So essentially, Moodle is your major communication tool. There's two major pages that you'll use when you're doing an advanced diploma, and the other page is that you have your course intake specific page, and the other page will have other things such as your e-library, for example, your remote lab access. Another thing that we do, because we've got different systems, right? We don't want to ask students to save many different login details, because it's just frustrating, right? Which login do I use now? So what we do is we give students only one set of login details. And then what happens is Moodle, as you go to a different system, Moodle will remember your login. So for example, if you're logged into Moodle and you want to access the remote labs, you do not have to put in another username and password. You don't have to put any username and password in. Once you've logged into Moodle using your username and password, then you can access things like the e-library, the remote labs, and a range of other, the webinar software, as I mentioned, big blue button, any sort of software that you sort of need is all based on Moodle. So you can then access that and it doesn't go down. It does not matter your time zone, your location. You can access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we put a lot of notices up with software. You need to you need updates, and we know when Moodle is least used, and so the tech team will then put a notice up saying Moodle's down for the moment, updates or whatever that, because it needs to be constantly updated, constantly improved, which is really fantastic. And we find it works really well too. It's user friendly. Students do understand where to go. When you first start a course, a lot of these things you're sort of looking through, trying to understand what do I need to do. And that's why when a course first starts, we never have any webinars on the start date, because we understand that the students need time to understand the course, what's happening with the course, what do I need to do, how do I do it. And so in the first week after the start date of the course, the learning support officer will send the students little snippets of information. Everything's on Moodle, but just really to draw the students' attention to the things in the course that they need to know at the start of the course. And then we have an introductory webinar so we can meet and say hello and wish all of the students well throughout the course. So that's Moodle's really fantastic, and it's constantly being updated, constantly being improved, as are all aspects of our courses as well. The materials are constantly being improved and checked, and feedback looked at to make sure that they really are super high quality materials. So I hope that gives everyone a bit of an understanding of the sort of the vocational education and training, the VET qualifications, and sort of the way the way they're delivered, sort of resources that you will receive, the support mechanisms that you'll receive. You've got support. There's a range of different support mechanisms, but I mentioned the LSOs, but also the instructors. The students have the contact details of the instructors on Moodle, and they, if you have questions about an assignment, I'm not sure what this is asking me. What do I do here? It's regular that the instructors will receive communications from the students, and they're happy to help. So there's a whole team of people at EIT that's here to help and support and to make sure that the graduate outcomes are really, really strong. Not just that you receive the formal qualification, but more importantly, when you do graduate, that you really do have a strong understanding of the subject matter that's been presented and assessed throughout the course, and then you can then apply those what you've learnt to your work, which is ultimately the end goal and really, really, really important. One of the things that I really enjoy doing is looking at the graduates when they graduate, different graduation ceremonies, and it's not an easy journey. It's a significant qualification at, say, an advanced diploma level qualification. But when you graduate, I hope you feel that it was rewarding and that that you've learned what you needed to do to perform better in the workplace. Thank you everyone very much for coming. I hope it helped and gave you some understanding of the courses that we offer and how we offer them. Thanks, Barry.
Thanks very much, Paul. Thanks to our audience. And just before maybe we look at the questions, so there has been a suspicious link that has been posted in the chat box. So please note that is none of us that shared that information. Please, we highly recommend that you don't click on that link or any share or sort of like share any of the information of yourself. So just ignore it. I'm just going to put the right email addresses just for in case if you want to ask further information with regarding to our programs and how to enroll. So you can either email our team or you can email myself. So I just pasted our email addresses today. And Paul, I just want to check if maybe there's a few questions we can run through.
Yes, of course. Happy to help. I'm having a look at them now. Just going through. Can you, Leah or Barry, do you anyone that you want to draw my attention to?
I'm just checking.
Can one? So people from all different countries. It's really great.
Yeah. So there's yeah.
Okay, Barry. Sorry.
Yeah, there's one. Can one use the graded exam certificate from EDX online website towards any credits for EIT?
Okay, good question. Yeah, so in terms of credit, we have something called recognition of prior learning, or RPL as it's commonly known. RPL looks at your previous work experience, as well as other sort of qualifications and studies that you've had in the past that you've completed, and then how that matches up against the requirements of a specific module. Anything looking at formal learning, whether that's been a qualification that you've studied, professional development also gets factored into RPL, work experience, on the job training, a range of different things that factors into is put towards recognition of prior learning. So the answer, a short answer to that is, yep, different as part of an application, probably direct credit from a non-accredited, if a non-accredited course going towards a formal qualification on its own, probably not, but as a package, you're putting that along with other studies and work experience, then you could then apply for recognition of prior learning. Any more, Barry?
The costs for RPL process?
Yep, so there's no cost for recognition of prior learning, but the fee, there's no reduction in fees. So students will pay for the full course fees, but we don't charge, so students will pay for the full course fees. I jumbled up my words, and irrespective whether they have RPL or not. Okay. Any more, Barry, that you can kind of see? I'm sort of scanning through it.
I think that's it. There's some that I've been just replying to. So.
Okay. So there's an attendee question there, Perry, that I think just might be a fairly recent one. I have a trade test and 6 with 5 years of experience related to my field. Yes, yeah, that's the perfect. That looks to be a really strong application towards the advanced diploma. We don't have an advanced diploma of engineering, but the very likelihood that is a very strong application towards the advanced diploma program. Okay.
I'll just share information to all our advanced diplomas, so you can have a look and check which one you will be interested in.
Paul, I see one. I'm not sure if you've answered this already. They've asked, are all of the advanced diploma courses full-time, or are there any part-time options?
We say that they're all part-time intensive, so none of them are full-time. But you do need to spend approximately 15 and be able to allocate about 15 hours a week towards the advanced diploma. We found historically that produces solid outcomes. And they are the kind of courses that you need to be on top of too. You can't really, so you need to really be able to spend a good 15 hours per week reading through the different material, going through the different materials, completing assessments, attending the live webinars, and have that time to allocate towards the course to successfully complete the course. It's a good question. Fantastic. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I hope it helped.
Thanks very much, Paul. And once again, to just saying thanks to our audience for today. And if you are looking forward to join us again for the rest of the week, you can always just go on our website to register for more sessions, or otherwise I will just put the link in the chat box and you can go and register. Remember, this platform has been created for you just to learn more about EIT, what we do and why we're doing it. So hope to see you soon. Thanks, Paul and the team.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye now.